here, Nintendo Guru, and listen, we're gonna jump right into it. Here's what's gonna happen today. We're gonna start off Nintendo Guru Daily. We're gonna talk about this Smash situation. So a couple days ago, a website called Nintendo Soup posted an article, and I read a lot of stuff from Nintendo Soup. They're not like the big hard-hitting websites that come out with all this crazy news and all that stuff. They kind of tag along, and what I mean by that is they'll come after the fact sometimes they'll come ahead of the time, but they'll grab stories, they'll quote different stories and just slam them in their feed and stuff, but that's not taking the shot at them at all. I don't think that they're a bad website. I don't think they mean any ill will or they're trying to do anything out of line or out of sorts. However, I feel like they're misleading, and I feel like we get this situation a lot where these sites are making empty promises. And the one right here, the article I'm going to read real quickly, it starts off saying Xenoblade 2's Rex could be the next DLC fighter if this Super Smash Bros. Ultimate theory is right. So if this theory is right, that's their out, essentially going like, well, we're just reporting a theory. But I feel like when you report these theories, a lot of people don't read the full articles. They just read headlines, and it causes confusion. And not only that, maybe I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed and I see that tweeted out by you, and it sticks in the back of my mind, but I'm not able to read the story. So in my mind, I'm like, later on, maybe a month down the line, I go, oh, wait a minute, I saw this article, because I'm confused, and we can't pull exact history up in our minds all the time. And it's like, I saw this article, I swore it was from a Nintendo website that said that Rex is coming to Smash. Let's just jump into this a little bit. So what this article is basically saying is, several weeks ago we shared with you how Earthbound fans came up with a theory that Pokey is one of the next DLC fighters for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Today, something similar has happened with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 protagonist Rex. Some Japanese fans believe that Rex is one of the DLC fighters in the Fighter Pass. Because Rex does not appear as an avatar while creating a gamer tag, despite Rex's absence, other Xenoblade Chronicle 2 characters, Pyra and Mythra, appear as an avatar option. Adding to the theory is the fact that all 74 fighters and the upcoming Piranha Plant do not have avatars at all. Some believe that this is a sign that Rex is a future addition to the roster. So then it finishes off like, well, what do you think? Let us know. Well, this is me letting you know. I think you're crazy. I think that this is basically fueling a fire, which we continue to see happen over and over and over again. It just happened with Metroid. So people, because they read these articles, got all hyped up that Metroid was supposed to be at the Game Awards. Never happened. Then what happens? The next day, because people now for weeks, months, have been talking this frenzy up in their minds, they believe that Nintendo ripped them off. They believe that they were supposed to get this. And now we're mad at Nintendo. Not mad at the website that reported it. We're mad at Nintendo. And this, to me, is a big mistake in the gaming media, per se. A lot of the big sites don't do stuff like this. Now, I'm not going to say they don't, because they absolutely do. And they do report weird rumors like this from time to time. But I think what's happened is a lot of the big websites, IGN, Kotaku, GameSpot, sites like that, those sites are now competing with little sites like this, where little sites like this are just being the first ones out the gates. And then what happens? They do get one of these right occasionally. Pie in the sky, they nail one, right? Then what happens is now everybody goes, oh, well, these guys are on it and IGN's not. So I feel like it pulls the bigger echelon websites into this muddy area where they have to try to step it up in order to do things, in order to compete. So we know this for a fact. Sakurai, he announced and he said, we made Rex as a Mii fighter because he's not going to make him in the game. He's not going to make it in the roster this time. Meaning this time. Meaning this game. He's not in the game. not going to happen. Reggie says all of the DLC characters will be from games new to the franchise. So you read that and you think to yourself, like, okay, maybe we will have Rex, because Rex is new to the franchise. He has a Mii Fighter costume. He is essentially in the game. The Virtual Fighter people, they are Mii Fighter costumes. Anybody that typically gets a Mii Fighter costume, most of the time, they're just, like, if you start out with a Mii Fighter, they don't add it later. They don't go like, oh, you know what, this is a popular Mii Fighter costume, so we're going to throw it in. Gino, not in there. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a thing. So for me, when I see websites doing this, I just feel like, man, you're a little disingenuous. You're causing a rift, you're causing issues where they don't need to be issues. And I feel like this stuff needs to stop, because we need to, maybe perhaps somebody needs to create a scorecard, a report card, that when you make a rumor and you announce and you report a rumor, if you get it wrong, you should get a check mark that you got it wrong. If you get it right, you should get a check mark that you got it right. This way we can turn around and go, hey man, Nintendo Soup, they post a lot of rumors. They're about 60% right with their rumors. Now I can take it with a grain of salt and I could go, hey, wait a minute, these guys are reliable? They're not really that reliable. Same thing with leakers, Liam Robertson, Emily Roberts. All these different people should have to basically abide to the same set of rules. It's crazy how people just come out and say stuff and it's immediately fact. And I don't understand why we as fans believe it, but it's got to stop. Or at least don't get mad at Nintendo when it doesn't happen. When Rex does not become a DLC character, don't get mad at Nintendo. It is not going to happen. Like, you can mark it down, timestamp it. Somebody timestamp this and make it history. So that way, this moment right now, when I go, it is not happening. You will never see Rex in Smash Ultimate as a playable character, minus the costume. You will not get an additional add-on later on. There's 4 more places left. Promise you that Nintendo wants to continue to do things like Joker. It makes more sense for them to build relationships with characters like Joker and bring in, hopefully, franchises like Persona to actually, because here's what happens. A little tale that'll tell you. When Nintendo, since the Wii U, when Nintendo started bringing these third-party characters in, what happens is those franchises tend to get a bump in sales. Meaning, more games will then wind up coming to the Nintendo Switch, because these people go, wait a minute, Mega Man is selling like crazy. So essentially, when you get these things happening, it doesn't make sense to me. So ultimately, like, you want to have relationships with like Persona, and when you get a company that turns around and goes like, hey, people were hungry for a Mega Man, we're going to give it to them now. We're going to give them more Mega Man games. And by the way, we're going to give it to Nintendo because Nintendo helped fire this up. Cloud comes to Smash, and then what happens? Ultimately, Square sees the clamor of Nintendo fans for their characters, and they start to flood the Switch. After they do a little tests, they start to flood the Switch with Square characters because they realize and they recognize people want these things on the Nintendo consoles. So it starts to become a thing. Now, if Atlas brings Persona over to the Switch and it sells like we all know it'll sell, guess what? We start to see more games come to the Switch. This is just a tale that's going to happen. This is a tale that's as old as time. As old as time. It's just a thing that's going to happen. And I think that websites need to be held more accountable than to do stuff like this. This, to me, is not okay at all. And I feel like when websites are doing things like this, they need to be called out on the carpet for it. And they need to be put their feet to the fire if you make a mistake. Because at the end of the day, if I make a mistake on this channel or on YouTube or stuff, I get called out for it. And I get hammered for it. It should be the same thing. Why these people that throw rumors out there that are false, why Nintendo gets hammered for it and why they don't, makes no sense. Makes no sense. If I mess up, I get hammered. Nintendo doesn't get hammered because I'm the Nintendo guru. People don't turn around and go like, hey, Bobby said this and this didn't happen, so you're no. People come to me and go, hey man, you said this was happening. Why is it not happening? That's why I always make sure that if I ever talk about things, I kind of know what's going on with it, or I try at least, so this way I don't look like a fool later on. And that's what people don't do. They don't take their time. So that is all. Thank you guys for watching today's Nintendo Guru Daily. If you liked it, please, if you're watching on YouTube, slap the like button, share it with your friends. Not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. Or if you're on Twitch right now, hit the follow button. All the same, do your thing. That is all. Follow me, Instagram, Twitter, @Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.